Hi, everybody. Sam here. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at in the world today. I am so excited to be here with Christy for another micro interview. If you've been around for a while, we are so glad you came back. If you're new, we're glad you found us. And we help women as they learn to create a life they love one choice at a time. And that can start now with this micro interview with Christy. So, Christy is the owner of Work Solutions, and she has a thought, tip, or piece of advice she's going to share. And then she and I will have a little bit of a rumble session about it after that. So, Christy, take it away.
Hey, thanks so much, Sam. I am a career and executive coach, and as you said, the founder of Work Solutions. And one piece of advice that I always give my clients is to learn to define success for yourself. We really focus on individual coaching and workplace resiliency. So everybody is always chasing a title or a job, but you should look at the overall quality of your life and experiences that you want to have. Your path may not be someone else's path. You have to be very clear about what you want for yourself, and that should include the quality of life you want, the money you want to make, and if you want to pursue titles, that's cool too. But what I would encourage you to do in this season of your life is to really sit down and assess what your values are, what your goals are, and the type of life that you want to live, and then take that as the foundation to your next step to move forward. Because we spend 8 hours a day at our job. And if you own a business, you spend even probably more time than that trying to promote your business and build the business and learn from your mistakes and misses that you create. And, that's all a part of the journey. But anything that you can do to eliminate extra stress from your life and manage those processes, I encourage you to do so. And a big part of that is really understanding what success looks like. When I started my business, for me, success was if I was a educator. So for me, success was if I was making an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. So my goal 10 years ago when I first started it's so different from where I want to move right now, right? And I'm going through those growing pains of learning to how to scale and get to that next level. But don't be afraid to do it. Start where you are, use what you have, and go for it. Just be clear about what success means to you.
Wow, that's so good. It's so good. I teach the women how important it is to know who you are, because when you know who you are, then you can make choices that align with that. And so I think this is the next step. Once you know who you are and you decide what you want, then what you're talking about is the next step of defining what success looks like. Do you have like a simple tip or idea for a woman that maybe is ready to start to define success? Do you have something where you could think maybe she could do that just as a beginning step?
Yeah. It's really just about that self-assessment process. Look at patterns in your own life, right? Look at the areas where you have truly excelled. My sister, I've gone after a lot of things. I consider myself to be multi-talented, but one of the things my sister said to me that always sticks with me, the pattern, and it's a pattern that continuously shows up in my life. She was like, "You are a facilitator. Even as a coach, it's right, we facilitate." And when she said that to me, it was very eye-opening because I would try to pursue opportunities that wouldn't necessarily align with my path. It was more what I wanted because it was just a societal or this ideology of pressure that I had for success. But when I really started to understand my role and understand who I was, it was based on me taking time to step back to look at the patterns of that were occurring in my life and were the areas that I was really excelling and what was the commonality between all those. So if you kind of find yourself at a fork in the road right now and you're trying to figure out your next step or your next strategy, just take some time to sit back. Don't rush or jump into a situation, but look at the patterns in your life. Look at the areas where you truly have excelled. And from that, you can identify like, okay, maybe I am the facilitator. And what does that really mean for me or whatever role that you're designed to play, right? And then follow that path. I know people say, we use that, I want to be a jack of all trades, but I know the whole saying, right? Master of none. But I know there's a whole actually saying we only use part of it in our playing. But the truth is, what if you were a five at something and you take time and you really focused in on it and you go from a five to a nine? Or if you were a seven at something and you go from a seven to a 10, now you are 10 at that. You're number one at that thing that you focused and grew, right? So that assessment piece and just recognizing those patterns in your life to me is the basis of where you can start.
Yeah, that's so good. Being aware where you're at so you know
Mhm.
what you can do to improve or decide if it's not something you like you're a 5 and you're like, this is not gonna be for me. I wanna do something else that I'm already more naturally gifted at. I love that. And then also I'm just thinking of knowing who you are, creating what success looks like for you, and then not being afraid to do something. We may not make it, right? Like you may miss, you may not have success the first time. When you are really working towards the goal, then you may take a few steps forward and a few steps back, but then you eventually get there. And so knowing when it's time to take a risk and to say, this is what I really, really want, and figure out how to get there.
Yeah. You got to use what you are. I mean, look, I still feel like I'm in the learning curve of producing videos, and we've gotten pretty good about putting out content, but I didn't have a fancy camera. I've used everything from my computer cam to my phone. It's people that are making millions of dollars right now on TikTok and YouTube because they just opened their phone up and started talking. So don't be intimidated by the process. Don't be intimidated by failure either. I like to say the word failure, even though some coaches will give you a fancy word for it. Failure is just tuition that you pay for your success. So it's okay to fail. It's okay to just start where you are, use what you have. I have failed 1,000 times, right? But it's about being resilient and getting back up and learning from those experiences and keep investing in yourself and doing the things you need to do to move things forward.
Yeah. Well, I love what you're doing. I love how you're trying to help people figure out what success looks like for them, because until you know what you're shooting for, you're never going to know if you hit it or not. There's a story about an archer, and I don't know if this is true. I've never done the research to know if the way I'm telling the story is correct. So, but this is what I remember, is that I think he was in the Olympics, and he was like an archer, and he was shooting and he hit a bullseye, and he was so excited. I hit the bullseye. And then he realized he hit the wrong target.
Well,
And
that
so what happens if you hit the wrong target? You don't win.
you don't.
Like if you're climbing the ladder to success and you realize your ladder's on the wrong building, you get to the top and you're like, well, that's not what I was expecting. So knowing what you want and what success means to you is so important.
And if you do climb on the wrong building or you do hit the wrong target, just go pull out the arrow, just move the ladder to the right building, right? Because this is where people end up, they spend years on I hit the wrong target. Well, the time you spent crying after you hit the wrong target, instead of repositioning your arrow and bow, right? Or repositioning the ladder to the right place, you probably could have learned from that situation. I bet you won't hit the wrong target again or climb the wrong building
Mhm.
again, right?
I
Sometimes
bet you
when
won't.
get stuck on I hit the wrong target, or I mean, how many times in business have I hit the wrong target? Have I done a million things and
Mhm.
done with so you got to move the
Yeah.
lever and move the arrow and reposition yourself and learn from the situation and keep growing. Well, client
Yeah.
come to me most of the time as a career coach. When a client comes to me, it's always, "Hey, will you write a resume for me? Will you do LinkedIn?" It's never the actual issue, right? Like what they come to me for a transactional purpose, but it's never the actual issue. That's why I start to take a deep dive with them because no matter how many resumes I write for you, which you really only need one if I'm writing it, but no matter what I do for you, if your mindset is not there, if your confidence is not there, you're not gonna have you're not gonna have you probably have what it takes, but you're not preparing, really positioning yourself to get to the next level if you don't address the core issue of what it is.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, Christy, I am so glad that we got to chat today. I will make sure that your links are all around this video or audio, depending on if the women are watching in the community or on social media, podcast platforms, whatever, wherever they're at, they'll be able to click through to you and learn more about who you are and how you help in the world. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up today?
And just remember that if you're going through a period of transition, this is a good time to reassess yourself and figure out what you really want. You don't have to be in a rush to jump to the next thing, but if you need to get a job temporarily, if you need to do something temporarily until you figure it out, that's okay too, right? But really focus on defining success for what works for you and let your next step be one that you really want to take.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Thank you so much. It was good to visit with you today.
Thank you so much.